Hi guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts. This is Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, May 8th, 2018. I like to start these videos out telling you about what I've been up to personally during the week, any exciting news I might have, and I can show you how my week has gone by my exciting news. The most exciting thing that's happened this week? It rained on Saturday for a whole hour. That's it. I am not complaining. I am very pleased to have a nice, quiet, calm week. Knock on wood, we don't need to have anything exciting going on in our lives, right? Now that all my kids have graduated and out of the house, this is the time of year. May is the end of the school year here in Florida. There's proms. Month of May is full of proms and graduations. There's all kinds of things going on. People are getting out of the house, doing a little boating and fishing. The weather is nice. The water is warm. But I don't do any of those things. So for me, I like to spend my weeks doing any type of crafty thing, and that's enough excitement for me. So why don't you come on closer again, and I'll show you what I worked on this week. So here's my weekly dishcloth. This is the last of the green ones. I am working on an orange one this week. I really like this green. I actually wouldn't mind to have this in a sweater. Definitely not in the cotton, of course, because it's a little bit scratchy. But I kind of like this lime greenish color, and I think it would be fun in a sweater. So there's my washi cloth. I almost have April's UFO unfinished object from many years ago finished. The Arabian Night stocking is basically what I've been calling it. As you can see, I've got some puckers. I guess doing it with the ribbon, I probably should have used a bias tape because it would have smoothly went around here without having these puckers, but I'm almost done hand stitching this down. I hand stitched all along the top and most of the bottom yesterday while I was watching the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Tucked my corner a little. But this is just going to be hanging in my craft room around Christmas time, so I'm not too worried about these little ripples in here. It's a lesson learned, and I think everything we work on, anything new we try, we will learn things that work out well and things that need to be different next time. If I were making this as a gift, I would definitely pull this ribbon off and switch it over to a bias, or I probably would have made the stocking completely different. But for now, I'm perfectly fine with it. I can say I'm very pleased with it, but I'll put a little hanger on it and hang it up in the room at Christmas time, and it'll be fine. So you probably won't see this again because there's really no sense showing you after I've sewn up these few inches. So I'm going to consider this finished for these videos, and then it'll get put away for Christmas. My main focus this week has been these owl mitts. There used to be a knitting podcast that I loved to watch. There was a lady out of South Africa. She no longer podcasts, otherwise I'd go ahead and link it to you. But she used to say her little catchphrase was, if you want to see progress, work on one thing. And that's what I did. These were my main focus. Each day I worked on them. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I made 3 blue mitts because silly me was just crazily knitting along, watching Netflix or YouTube or something, and I made 2 right-handed mitts. So I had to take it all the way back down to here so I can actually make a left-handed mitt. Now I still have to put a little bit of a thumb on. It's not going to be very much. It's only going to take a few minutes. You just add a couple rounds to it to make it all nice and fill in these little gaps. And then I'll add some of the ribbing. And then I have to put the little owl eyes on. And then you'll definitely know that they're owls. But I think these turned out really well. They're definitely nice and warm because it is May in Florida. But I wanted to make sure that there was enough warmth to cover the wrist. I really don't like when you have a mitt and you go to put it on and it doesn't cover your wrists or it doesn't go up and cover your fingers. Now as you notice, this one's just a little bit longer than this one. And I think it's really strange because I use the same yarn for both of them, but sometimes they say when they dye the red yarn that the yarn will get actually a little bit thicker. Whoops, I didn't want to take that one off. But it's actually going to be fine because this one will be nice just to wear like that. If you want one that's a little bit longer, because these are both going to the same person. See, I got that thumb gusset that I talked about last week. What you can do is you can fold this cuff down And you can have more of your fingers accessible if you want to keep it like this, and it'll keep your knuckles nice and warm. And then if you need to have it warmer, like if it's actually cold and you're going outside instead of just using it for typing, then you'll have it like this. So it's really a good combination of the two. This is a good all-around one, and this one is good for wearing in the warmer weather. So you may or may not see these next week. If I finish them and they go out in the mail, you will definitely see a picture of them. But like I said, all 4 of them just need to have their little thumbs put on and their little eyeballs. I can see, let's see if you can see it on the burgundy. I can see that this is an owl, that I know that the eyes are going to go right here in these little dimples. But if you've never really seen these before, you may not see it. So, but once, it's really strange because this is like a horseshoe cable. This is all you really see, but once you put those 2 eyes on, it automatically turns into an owl. It's strange, but it's kind of cool. Now you know there's not going to be a week to go by that I don't spend a little bit of time on my buttons. I didn't touch anything over there. This week, I actually didn't work on it until Sunday morning, and I spent my time working on the blues and purples. I don't know if you can see, but I've started to put these buttons were gifted to me, and they have shanks on them. And I didn't really worry about the shanks. All these are flat, but I knew I was going to start building it up at some point or another. So I started adding some of these blue ones. They have this just nice little cutout detail. It gives it a little extra look and texture to fill in some of the little spaces in between the buttons, and it'll bring it up. And look, I just love this purple heart. This is more of a ceramic type button. And I tell you, when I got these buttons in the mail, oh, hubby and I went crazy for them because there were so many fun ones to look at. I was really tempted to save this for a special project. But then I thought, no, this is my special project. This is where all the good buttons are going to go. All these basic plain ones were going to be on the bottom level. And then I was just going to start adding some special ones, filling in spaces and bringing it up a little bit. Like this one, I have a nice little flower. And here's a couple more shank buttons. I received more buttons than this, but these are the ones that I set aside for this project specifically. And what I thought was really fun is, I don't know if the person who sent them to me, you'll have to let me know down below, that, did you realize that I have love written on my buttons? And that you sent me love buttons. Now, isn't that kind of cool? This is going to be my goal this week, is to start bringing this up and raising it up with some felt or batting so I can start doing French knots. And I'm going to find somewhere along here to put the love, maybe in some of the empty spaces, to shadow the other word love. But I thought that was really neat, and I just wanted to show that off. Have I ever showed you the back of my buttons? Have you been curious? No one's ever asked to see the back, but I'm just crisscrossing. I didn't even care. I went all the way across. What I've been doing is, before I get going too far, like every 4 or 5 buttons, I'll go ahead and knot it in the back, and then I won't cut the thread. I'll just keep going, because I like the roadmap of all the different floss as it's going around everywhere. Like, this is my trail of orange buttons and my yellow. It kind of reminds me of the constellations. I love looking at the stars at night and all the different constellations. So I thought, well, this is kind of like going to be my stars on the back. I do not plan on covering this with anything. However it finishes up, that's how the back is going to look. So those are my buttons. The only other time I turned my sewing machine on this week, which is really strange, hubby even came in saying, it's awfully quiet in here, I don't hear your sewing machine at all. Well, I wasn't doing any type of sewing projects this week. I did start to sew my bear together, but not unfortunately, there's a little bit of a delay right now. I believe they have all their kits where they give you the rare bear fabric for their foots and the little tags for the back. They have to be printed from spoon flour. So they're waiting on, they must have had an influx of bear making because they're all out of the kits. So they said there's going to be a couple week delay before we can get new kits. So what I've been doing is, to the best of my ability, I'm just stitching the bear together, putting their legs together and their little arms. And I did get to stitch the head together. So this is what this guy's going to look like to start with. So I don't think the gray fabric was too bad there. I kind of wanted to offset the ears, so it went with it a little bit. Now I don't have any gray in the rest of his body. But he's going to have these pops of green, so I think he'll be fine. So this bear is just in limbo right now. He's as far as I can go without having, because you have to have the bottom of the foot before you can stitch the foot together. And then you have to have the tag before you can start stitching the back. So I'm at a standstill. With this guy. But that's okay. There's plenty of time. I did receive some really cute fabric in the mail for the next bears. And I should be able to get 2, if not a little bit more, out of these fabrics. So here's this pretty blue. This is all dog themed this week. This is the Bark Plaza with Poodle Puffs, Beagle Biscuits, York Yummies. Oh, it's a place where you can get doggy food, doggy treats. I've seen online where they have special cafes where you can either take your dogs or cafes just for dogs. This one has different animals. It has elephants. It's got monkeys and bunnies and stuff, and there's some dogs still. So this one will go really well. This one will go really well with the blue, but they'll all be really interchangeable. But this one is the cutest. Wait till you see this fabric. Look at the doggy outlines. Isn't this the sweetest fabric? I thought this was so cute. I'm going to try to be a little careful with my placement of the pattern pieces on this one to make sure I can get, it'd be really nice if I can get like a dog across its belly or its back or down on one of its legs or arms or something. But I'm not going to go, I don't want to waste the fabric. However it lands on it, it's going to land. But if I can get it to work out, then that'll be great. What I was thinking is, I think I'm going to make, right now I've made pattern pieces. I've made copy of them all on file folders so I can easily just trace around the pattern pieces. But I think since you have to make 2 of each piece, I'm going to make extra copies of it, extra templates so that I can just lay it on the fabric and check my placement before I start drawing around it and cutting it all out. That way I'll make sure if I want to have certain fabric and certain body parts, it'll work out really well that way. So what are my plans for next week or this week coming up? I don't know. I have to finish the owl mitts, and I want to get this all ironed and pressed and ready to go and start tracing out patterns and getting them cut out. I might even have time to sew a little bit on this rare bear. There's always going to be time for buttons. I worked on my Halloween embroidery a little this week, but I only added 1 arm length of embroidery floss to it, so I didn't bother bringing it over to show you. So maybe I'll get a little more work on that. But other than that, I really have nothing drawing my attention. I think I have my hands full with what I have right now. But sometimes when I'm looking for a specific supply in my craft room, I'll come across an old project and I might want to start working on that. I do still have to pick out my UFO project for May, my unfinished object. Not sure which one I want to work on. I believe Mother's Day here in the US, and I believe also in Canada, North America basically, is this Sunday coming up. So for all of those mothers and aunts and sisters, I just want to wish you all a happy Mother's Day, and I will see you next week. Bye.